There we go. Okay. This is an interview with Polly Mason, who is a former president of the Junior League of Troy, for our oral history project. So the first time I met you was last year in December at Polly's cottage.
Okay. That's an interesting start because
Yes.
I've done so much, I've had so much involvement with Vanderheiden. Patty DeVito was director of volunteerism there. She has since retired, and but she was the one that got me interested in Vanderheiden and what it represented and how it helped young people go in a better direction when they were referred there.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure of the exact age level, but I know I was very impressed by what Patty told me its purpose was, and I'm a former teacher myself, although it was mostly I've been a student teacher and a substitute teacher, and I love teaching, but by a matter of circumstance, I ended up in social service and had received my 20-year PIN just before my accident, which left me incapacitated to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So any longer.
So Polly's Cottage is named for you.
Yes, that's correct.
And I know the Junior League, for the years that I've done it, and I know we're planning to do it again this year, is we give them presents and do a Christmas party for
Yes,
them.
that's the principle. I love Christmas, and to me, it represents a very special time of the year because it's a giving process.
Yeah.
And I feel it's a grand way for the league to give back to the community.
Yeah. So why is the cottage named for you? Is it because of all your volunteer work?
Well, that might be a part of it, but as far as Vanderheiden was concerned, it was through Patty's efforts of interesting me and also my financial backing for various projects.
Oh, wonderful.
I didn't, sadly, I didn't actually volunteer there.
Yeah.
I've done enough volunteering in my league career
Yes.
to know how much that represents in my mind.
Yeah.
Because let me explain to you, just to give an example. When I was a provisional, which was, as I say, in '67, we had to be beginners, so to speak, for a whole year.
Yep.
And each meeting we had back then was associated with a location in the community where we could also go and work. Back then, one of the prime locations was the junior museum, and it was one of the main locations and interesting locations for leaguers back then because it was started by the Junior League originally. It's now been overtaken by RBI, and it's called something more scientific in its new location out at East Greenbush or one of those.
The Rensselaer Tech Park. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But to me, the Junior League will always be the originator and also the main force behind its beginning.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's CNSE CMOS now. Yeah. Which is
yes, and
a mouthful of letters.
yes, and I think that's fine, but sometimes I don't feel that they understand how much initially the league had in forming it, because it was originally started, as I understand, in the basement of the Historical Society.
Ah.
And Mrs. Dorothy Philly was one of the principal league members that was involved in promoting it and getting other members involved. And,
Yeah.
You don't have to record this, but I'm not sure if she's still living or not.
What time, like what year was it started? About what time?
I'd have to check my league book
Okay.
to be exactly. I think it was in the 50s or early 60s.
So it was already up and running when you first heard of the Junior League?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. I think there have been at least two other locations.
Yes. Yeah.
Before the CMOST location.
Yeah.
Usually, for some reason, we felt the need was greater in the North Troy area.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was sorry when they left. I've lived in Troy all my life, but I can't keep my streets straight.
Yes.
Again, up in North Troy, I visualize it on a corner, and I know I've been through it. And the only items I tried to avoid were the snakes.
Oh, yes.
So,
Yeah, snakes are scary.
And I think being associated with CMOS is fine. I think they have a junior league room there
Yes.
now. But I'm glad to finally see some kind of league, junior league, Troy Junior League representation
Yes.
there.
Yes. So thinking back to the 60s, how did you first hear about the Junior League as an organization?
When I joined,
Yes, or even before you joined, who got you in?
well, back then you didn't necessarily know who proposed you. That was kept confidential
Yeah.
until you actually joined. I found out later that Judy Carlton Van Rensselaer was one of the people involved in my proposal, and but as I say, that was later. I can tell you, and I'm very proud of this, and I can tell you that Ozana Moradian made it possible for me to have my first league position, and that was with a provisional class
Yeah.
way back then.
Yeah.
And I was going to, at the time, I was going to Russell Sage for a master's degree in elementary education because even though I was involved in social work, I still felt that one day I might want to either teach full-time or at least be able to substitute from time to time if the opportunity presented itself.
Do you remember how many ladies were in your provisional class?
Classes were of provisionals were larger then.
Yes.
It would be a pure guess.
Yeah.
But maybe 20, 25.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So what attracted you to the Junior League? What did you like about it?
Actually, my mother, who is no longer alive, I have to give her credit for that. She was a league member herself, Ruth Freihofer Mason, and she was the one. I was reluctant. I'm not sure why. I just didn't know whether I wanted to, especially going to night school. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to get involved right at that point. And she was the one that said, well, try it. You'll have a chance to meet people and do things for the community. And I still wasn't sure, but I went ahead and started the provisional class, and then I decided I liked it.
Yeah. Okay, so your mother was the first Junior League person in your family?
As far as I knew back then,
Yeah.
my aunt Terry slash Jane Freihofer might have been see, I can't remember whether she was
Yeah.
also a member then. but there were selective family members, and but it was mainly my mother who convinced me to give it a try.
Yeah. Did you think, were you older or younger than the other provisional members, or around the same age?
That's another toughie. I think I was around the same age
Yeah.
overall.
Yeah.
I don't think there were a lot of older people back then because you had to be proposed, and back then, and so I think that didn't make it one. I'm embarrassed to say I don't remember exactly what the age differences are now, because I know it's changed, I believe. But I think that was another factor that might have made it around the same age. Not everyone necessarily, but no extreme versus one versus another.
Okay. So everyone was kind of around.
Yes, the same age.
Were you married at the time? Did you have any children?
I've never been married. I'm single, but I have a lot of, very proudly, I have a lot of borrowed children. And those are through my activity with first boys baseball when I student taught a boys class. One of the boys, Steve Dean, asked me to my first Little League game. And after I went to my first one, I was stuck. I really liked it. And I found out that a couple of the other boys in my class, particularly one individual, was also very involved. And then when I followed the boys in the baseball, I met a group of girls, younger girls, who played basketball for Tamarack. Middle school at the time, and then high school, and that got me interested in girls basketball. And the year that these girls were seniors, which I think was '87. I'm a little vague on exact dates, year-wise. I remember I went to at least 42 games. I went to all their basketball games.
So thinking about your activity with the Junior League, how does being a part of the Junior League make you feel?
It makes me feel like a partner within the community. And I know more about Troy and its surrounding areas now than I ever would have known as a individual just coming home from college and doing whatever stuff.
Yeah.
And also it connected me with some lovely ladies, some of whom have, most of whom have, not some, most of whom have remained my personal friends.
Yeah.
And I have to relay one personal story. How do I do this modestly? Modestly. Mary Donahue, who now is Mary Donahue Rickey, was a league member. Mary and I met through the league, and not initially. We had known each other since childhood, and met originally at the Troy Country Club, and she called me one night and said, "Polly, they want me to run for district attorney. I'm truly proud of this. What do you think?" And so I said, I thought for a minute, and then I said, Mary, I think you'd make a wonderful district attorney, and you have good judicial understanding. Mary came from a legal family. Her father was a judge, and I said, absolutely, I think you should at least try. And I said, if you try and don't succeed, well, that's unfortunate for our community. But if you try and you win, then you'll know that most likely it was something that was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Mary and I have remained friends since we were little.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and Patty DeVito I met through the league. There are just so many people. That's how I got connected with Vanderheiden.
Mm-hmm.
And but Mary, of course, eventually that was her initial election. She ran and won, and then she also. Later on, she ran for lieutenant governor with George Pataki,
Mm-hmm.
and they had successful years
Mm-hmm.
politically. So, but I'm very proud to say that Mary and I are just friends,
Mm-hmm.
and we keep in touch.
That's
and a
wonderful.
lot of my league friends are like that.
Yeah.
I'm very much a people person. Having my friends and keeping my friends is a very strong element in my life, especially since the accident I had in
Yeah.
1988.
Yeah.
So,
So, what leadership positions did you hold in the Junior League? I knew you were the president.
and I was also volunteer of the year in. Let me see. I was president from. I have to think. It was 2 years back then,
Mm-hmm.
and Patty DeVito was my executive secretary. I think that's what they called it back then, for both years. Okay, I think I was president. You can check in the league book, but
Mm-hmm.
I think I was president from '79 to '81,
Okay.
and then I was volunteer of the year in '82.
Oh, wonderful.
I didn't expect to be, but
Yeah.
I was, and so I'll show you some pictures on my wall before you leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
That relate to some of those years.
So, in all the years that you were in the Junior League, what do you think was the most important personal impact that you?
Knowing more about my community, but also people contact and
Yeah.
people connections. And it's something that just, it doesn't leave you after you might move on.
Mm-hmm.
Because hopefully you stay in the league or you transfer to another league. And but of course I think Troy is the best.
Yes.
And it's the connection with that's made with the community and with the people you meet within that grouping.
Mm-hmm. So, which project do you think had the best effect on the community, like on Troy, that we did back then?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think of what some of our projects were. We usually had well, I don't know if this is the only example. As I say, my memory is a little rusty, especially since my accident in '88. I don't have as good a memory as I once did, but we would do general fundraising, and back then rummage sales were still very popular. That was one of our major ones. I'm trying to think of where they were held, and but it had to be in a large space. I think the Troy Armory was one. A couple times we had to see. It's the detail I can't remember, and also like a dance, a social dance, and also having individualized gatherings for related to our projects, and I'm embarrassed to say I can't remember specific projects right now, but it always had a community outreach theme.
Yeah.
And that's what I found most gratifying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the setting up of the going back to the rummage sales, the setting up for the rummage sales was always a challenge. But everybody seemed to come together. And, as a group.
Yeah.
But I can't remember whether it was during my term, but for several years the league did a Follies, like at a local school like Lansingburg, in their auditorium, and women would dress up, and it would have a particular theme, and they would sing and perform based on what the theme was.
Wonderful. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I'm speaking more generally than specifically. I don't know if I actually sang, but everybody was very agreeable about trying to get together and cooperating and things like that. Not that the league isn't now, but the size of our league can make it more difficult, of course.
Yes. Yeah.
And the other thing I can say, and this is not in a negative way, but being a league in an area that has two other leagues, is also a bit of a difficult manner of working. Because it's three that are reasonably close together. But we do meet and try to, especially now, I think, and try to get mutual ideas.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We're having a tri-league meeting within the next month. So, and I've already been to one of those. So there's several tri-league meetings going on.
Yeah. Well, I was glad to hear when I went to one of the dinner meetings that I think we should make more of an effort to also go to a national meeting of some kind, because you can learn an awful lot from other leagues and their experiences.
Yes.
And it's like a ripple effect, a positive ripple effect.
Yeah.
Can be brought back. Not that everything can be followed in exactly the same way, but I think it just brings a cohesiveness of understanding
Yeah.
of what other leagues experience, like our own. And there are certainly those out there that have had the same problems we've been facing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
How did your experience with the Junior League, like volunteering with their projects, help you in the rest of your life, or with work, or did you get any skills from the Junior League that you put into volunteering in other areas?
uh, well, as far as I'm concerned, anything I learned in the league, I try to present is not the right word, but share in an everyday situation.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it involves being better organized. Except I'm not the most organized person in the world, but I had partners within the league that helped me. That's how I got to know Marcia White, and Marcia and I go back to some interesting memories together. And we also, I attended a state league conference in Ohio, and there were two sustainers that came with me then, and they've remained known to me and my acquaintances all my 68 years.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have an overnight experience together, it's can be very defining as far as how you leave after that.
Yeah. You get a chance to bond with the people.
Right.
There's something about, that next
exactly.
morning.
And have a cocktail or two.
Yeah.
I believe in a cocktail or two.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get better ideas that way.
So how has your work with the Junior League make you a better person?
Oh my gosh. I just appreciate it every day, because it's dealing with people. Dealing is not the better word, but it's how you treat people, how you present ideas, how well you're organized, your ideas may be accepted, or clarified, or facing a physical disability, as I've had to face, I feel it just makes me a stronger person.
That's great.
And I think I would be remiss if I didn't mention that part too.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah. So what words would you use to describe the Junior League of Troy today in 2013?
I like the word determined, because I feel we're determined to do the best we can, regardless of our number. And I'm proud to say that I think community interest is still strong. I think we're getting more recognition in recent years, and that's definitely a positive matter. Am I straying from your question?
No, that's exactly.
And as I say, it's just for me, it's a very powerful force because of the involvement I've had within the league, and the people I've met, and the community connections I've undergone because of my long-term understanding of what the league represents
Wonderful.
to me.
Yeah.
And it's very much a people element, and I think that's why I like it as much as I do. Although I was, as I say, a bit hesitant at first.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if I'm lucky enough to live as long as my mother has, I still have a few more years to go as far as personal input. I do try to make the dinner meetings whenever I can,
Yeah.
and it's so nice to see people I haven't seen in a while,
Yeah. Yeah.
and sort of reconnect. Because and I like meeting. I especially like meeting new actives because you know, it's a fresh face that hopefully the league can gain some knowledge and worthwhile ideas from.
Great.
So, and skill,
Yeah.
such as what you've displayed today.
Awesome. Thank you.
So.